All right. So, JL Campbell, you're going to bring in Kassana to talk about her process, and she is an awesome woman. That's I'm just saying that's my dog. Okay.
My pleasure and
Hi.
my honor to introduce Cassano. She is the author of Defiant, and she believes in love at first sight and happily ever afters. Her books are mainly contemporary romance, but she has also delved into paranormal and fantasy genre. She is a USA Today bestseller, and my favorite part, she has been defiant enough while doing her research to roll up into a white supremacist meeting while she was writing Fallen. And as you can all see, she lived to tell the tale. So here's a woman who has lots of interesting stories to tell us. So if
Hi.
you could just tell me how how and why.
I was listening to you earlier. I'm a lot like you. I like to do research, and I like to do other things. So I tend to get myself in trouble a lot. I don't think I would roll up into a supremacist meeting in this day and age, but when I did it about 6 years ago, they weren't as abrupt as I'm sure they are now. But the thing about it is I still kind of talk to them because I still write racist books. So when I want to know something like, hey, wasn't your daddy a grand dragon? I call them up and ask. But don't get it twisted. They know it, they have a thing in their head. They can literally break, I don't know how to put it. They can literally, they know I'm black. They see me as black, but oh, she's okay. I don't know if that would make sense to y'all, but that is how they see me now. They see me as, oh, she is okay. And I don't know if they would do that with everybody, but it works for me because I'm currently working on another series of racist books given this day and age. So it was a little tiny community center, basically a church. They have them in churches. I snuck in and sat in the back pew because I wanted to know what they were saying. I wanted to know terminologies. I needed to know these things. And if you've ever read my book, if you ever read Falling and Rising, you get a lot of that terminology. And a lot of it is offensive. Don't get me wrong. You would like to stomp a mud hole in their behinds. Their behinds. I cuss a lot, so I'm trying really hard to be good because I don't want to be censored by a madam over there in the red dress. So it's the dynamics is different. And I've watched them and I've seen things. And don't get it wrong, I know behind my back I'm still that nigger. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But at the same time, I like to think that their perception of me has changed and therefore their perception of Black people have changed because it's not as prevalent when I'm around.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Sugarland. I picked that up today. I was, looking at the sample and it sucked me in. How did you come up with that concept of him, going after his father, who is a drug addict? And it's clear that their economic situation isn't all that, but he goes after his father, and you give a lot of information in the beginning that tells me that here is a poor white family
Mhm.
and they're going through all of this with their father who is a crackhead or drug addict. I don't know if that's disrespectful. I'm not politically
No,
correct.
not at
Jamaicans
all.
never normally are. But
Mhm.
how did you come up with that concept and how you
I see it a
executed it?
lot. I see it a lot. I do a lot of traveling because I own properties, so they're not in the best areas. And I've seen drug addicts. I've rented to drug addicts. I rent to people that normal people wouldn't rent to because they can't come up with first, last, and security. So I've watched them. I'll give you an example. I went to check. I went to check on one of my houses, and it's divvied up into a rooming house. And in one of the rooms, somebody had already left. He's a drug addict. I had already put him out. But in the process of me putting him out, I couldn't get back there right away. So I had squatters who had already moved in. And they're white. And they're dope addicts. And I've seen them on my walls with needles in their arms. So drugs isn't prevalent in a Black community. It's not prevalent in any community. It's a disease, and it affects every race.
Everybody, right?
Yeah.
So that book I wanna read.
Oh, thank
Definitely.
you.
Definitely
I
want to
wrote
read
that
it.
for my daughter though. She won't read my books. Because she says I'm not into sex, Mom. I said that's a good thing. I'm happy about that. But I had to write something that she could relate to me, that she understood where I was coming from. And I know a lot of helicopter moms. So I was like, oh, hey, let's do that. Because as you delve into the book, you'll see that I deal with mental illness, Black mental illness, poverty. And there's a happy for now, but there is no happy ending. I try to give you a realistic view of what happened in the world. So given that, I tend to write realistically. Yes, there are good times. Yes, there are bad times. And romance should give you that happily ever after. And lately I have been feeling like I should write a happy ever after. But I don't think it's realistic right now. So I like to give you a happy for now and hope that you can get along with that. A lot of readers don't do that. They read me just to see if I'll ever give them a happy ever after. But it's not necessarily something I can relate to, because I try and pull from all aspects of life.
All right, I'm going to ask you now. I know that you were one of the leaders of that USAT box set. No, I know that it was a lot of work to get your book on the USAT. But how would you advise writers to balance the writing, the editing versus the marketing, promotion, and all of the work that went into getting those letters?
Oh, I'm horrible at that. I very rarely actually market myself. That was all Laverne. I don't market myself at all.
Laverne is here.
Yeah, you know, I'm one of those writers like, oh, I wrote a book and I dropped it. I'm like, oh, I gotta write the next. I'm like that squirrel, shiny. So I go to the next book and I write the next book, and I don't think about it. And because I don't think about it, I was like, and then I get authors, Kassana, you dropped the book. Yeah, I dropped it. It was like a couple days ago. Why didn't you tell us so we could market? I'm like, oh, yeah, I dropped a book. You need to market that for me. So that wasn't that, I have, Laverne does a lot of prompting because I am that squirrel that says shiny, and I will go off on tangents. And because I do that, thank God for my author friends, because they pull me kind of back. Because weren't you supposed to have this book done? Yeah, that was supposed to happen. So I have a core group of authors and friends. I'm not a very social person. If anything, I'm a psychopath. And I admit that. I'll take that. And I'm lucky. I'm very, very lucky that the author friends I have are more like family, a very close core of authors that I feel like if I was in trouble in the middle of the night, they could bail me out, because yeah, jail is a real thing to me. So given that, I they tend to keep me on pace, because I get, even Aline, she when she calls, I'm like, girl, let me tell you, these mother peoples, I gotta not stop cussing. These people I didn't cuss. These people are doing, girl, I can't do it. I gotta get, no, the devil is alive. Just no. So I have to.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. How did writing come to you? How did you come to writing? However that worked. How did you come together?
I have notebooks going back to when I was 12. I didn't really think about writing. It's just me journaling, and they kind of turned into stories. And then some of it is poetry. Some of it is middle of the night when you're in that teenage angst and you're like, man, to Hades with this stuff. So, you go through all that. And I've owned a couple businesses, and some of them failed and they didn't always work out. So my husband and my mother said to me, you're always reading a book. Why don't you write one? I was like, oh, challenge accepted. No problem. And I failed at it. I'm not even going to lie. I failed epically at it because I thought I was walking into something, doing something. I'm Betty Badass, and I failed. And it was a wake-up call because I don't like failure. So I decided I'm gonna try this again, and I'm gonna do it the right way. So I tried it again, and I got lucky for a publisher picked me up. And that was in 2010, and I've just kind of been writing ever since.
Who is Kassana, the woman, versus Kassana, the writer? Any difference?
No.
Any difference? No?
Basically, what you see is what you get.
What you get?
If you see me as the writer, you see me as Kassana. If you see me do this, then you see me do that. I would hope. I've always tried to keep it 100, so I would hope. I would hope I never change. It's hard to see yourself change, so I would hope it's pull my coat, be like, yo, sister, what's up with you? You kind of flaky, but I'm flaky anyway. So given that, I admit my faults. Given that, it kind of, but what you see is what you get. If you say, hey, Kassana, I'm like, yeah, I got you. And no, I can't. But if I don't like you, no, I can't stand you. But I'm gonna help you. I can't stand you. Don't call me again, but I'll help you. So it's me. I think everybody who knows me would know, but not everybody knows me, because a lot of times I'm very standoffish. I am standoffish. Yes, I
It's not
am.
so much standoffish, it's just that you're reserved, because I tend to be reserved until I know you.
Yes,
And
I have to get to know you. If I know you, I'll talk to you till the couch.
Only
We could talk all night. Yeah.
You're reserved.
And we'll sit there and drink. I got some soju. If we drink Korean, I got some rum. Since you Jamaican, girl, we will hit that and have fun.
Tell me this. What do you read? Who are your go-to authors?
I try to read what I don't write, because I never want anybody's words to bleed into mine. So I won't read romance. I don't read BDSM because I've delved into that. I like classics. Right now I'm reading 2 books. I read 3, but it's The Art of War. I'm rereading that because I read it in high school. And I'm reading Melania Trump because I like the gossip. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm a big gossip. And I was telling my group, I was talking to some of my author friends. I'm like, girl, do you see what happened? Did you know Don his granddaddy was a pimp? I was going, hey, it is what it is.
I don't want to be a total hog. Does anybody else have any questions?
What was the most challenging part for you of spearheading the 21 authors? Laverne gave us her take on it, but I'd like to hear your take on catapulting 21 authors to the US. Some people who were already on, but the majority wasn't, to the USA Today bestsellers list.
It's like herding cats. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being honest. You got authors all have distinct personalities. And when you put 21 authors together and each author has their own idea of how things are supposed to happen, I have to herd cats. Because I have to get them all in line and listen, this is what it is and this is how it works. And Laverne would throw that at me regularly. So I just gave everybody the truth. This is what it is. This is why it is. This is why we're doing it. This is what I could do to help you. This is if you need it. I like each and every author. I enjoy interacting with them. But when you get so many authors together, they all have their own idea of how things should happen. And it isn't necessarily going to happen like that. Because if I go this way willy-nilly, that way, well, we may never get on a list. So I have to firmly ask that you please comply and be nice. Be nice, be kind to each other. And let's just get through this. Because if you don't want to talk to them after we get on the list, then by God, don't talk to them no more. But for now, let's just do this. And you keep pushing. You push, you prod, you talk to them. Hey, you okay? Let's talk. What's going on? Anything you want to talk about? I'm here. And I hope everybody that ever talks to me knows that if you need me, I'm there. I will be there. You could call me 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I have had friends that have called me 2 or 3, and I've called them in drunken stupors. Hey, girl, I had too much to drink, so don't remind me of this in the morning. So, it just is what it is. And that's how you do it. And hope for the best. A whole lot of prayer. Prayer changes things. God knows. He saved me. A couple children and fools. I think I'm the latter. But hey, that's all I can give you on that one, because I just hope. I talk to you, I'm honest with you, and I hope it works out.
In terms of perseverance.
Yes, perseverance.
For
That's
writers,
what it boils down to.
For
You got
writers,
to keep trying. You can't keep failing. Eventually something's going to give, but don't expect. Failure is just a lesson that you have to pick up. And even now, I still fail at things. Even now, I sit back and I'm like, okay, I think I screwed up. How am I going to fix this? So you never stop learning. You never stop growing. You never, unless you choose to. Now, if that's your personal choice, then, kudos. But you don't have to. There's always so much, there's always so much more you could learn, so much more you could do, so many things out there, so many worlds to explore. Why stop? Why stop?
Is there anything you haven't done yet as a writer that you would want to do? Any genre that you haven't explored yet?
I have 100 books out, and they all change.
Did not know that.
Yeah,
did not know that. I saw that there was quite a collection, but I did not realize that.
I didn't realize it either until I went and actually counted them. I'm like, oh, wow. But because at different times, like when you go to publishers and the publishers go under and then you get the books back, your books get pulled. At some point, I have published 100 books. And I've learned that why hold back? If there's something you really want to write, sit your behind down and write it. So, if there's something I see and I'm like all of this, I will tell you, I had writer's block, and I've had it for a minute, and I was just struggling just to get a sentence on a page, just to get a sentence down. Woo, just to make it sound like something that you want to read, because I didn't want to read it. And I'm slowly getting back, but all of this COVID, all of this negativity, all of the rants, the political nonsense, all of the negative, it drains you. I had to cut off the TV. I had to, because I couldn't deal with it. And it kills your creativity. And I found myself writing a chapter to the book I'm releasing called Smoke Jumper. And I literally wrote a chapter about a woman going through what George Floyd went through. She was smashed into the ground. She was held down. And this is a Black woman. And I all of that anguish that your soul feels, I poured that into that scene, that hurt. You don't physically hurt, but you hurt. You hurt. And it all comes out. And I think that's the blessing of a writer. We have the ability to do that, but sometimes we get diverted. We get stuck in our own heads. And when you get stuck in your own head, it's hell getting out. Literally, it's hell getting out of your head. So again, it goes back to I'm just really lucky to have so many wonderful authors around me that I can turn to, because it's not, people think, oh, a lot of people, when I used to go to book signings before COVID, a lot of people would be, oh, I want to be a writer, and what do you do? And it's not something that you just do. I mean, you can sit down and just write, but that emotion that makes you feel, that comes from your soul. That anger, that hurt, that passion, when that reader feels that emotion, that is your soul. That is a piece of your soul. And we'll see. All I can do is hope for the best and pray for, expect the worst and hope for the best.
Let me ask you this. Do you plot at all, or do you just fly by the seat of your pants?
I fly by the seat of my pants. I could be in a car and I'll have to pull over. I'll get off the expressway and they're like, what's wrong with you? I said, I just had an idea. Give me a minute.
I love her and smiling.
Poor Laverne, she gets stuck with me. And I'm like, Laverne, I had an idea. I gotta change the plot. Don't be mad at me. Just give me a minute. So, because Laverne is my writing partner for our new racist book. So look, poor Laverne, she's like, where is it? I'm like, but I had an idea. Just give me a minute. And I have to work through all that angst and then I have to call and I'm like, listen, I know you don't like me and I know you don't want to hear from me, but I really need to know what you call Black people behind our backs. So, those things, that all of that swirling happens to me. I told you I'm a psychopath. I really believe that, but it runs in my family. It really does. So I think I'm the type of, I'm a functioning psychopath. There we go. We found it.
I hear you. With that said, and that writing synergy between both of you, how do you do it? Do you write one chapter, she writes one, or do you collaborate on, whatever chapter you're at? How do you do that?
Poor Laverne stuck with me. We do both. She writes a chapter, I write a chapter, and then we go back and read each other chapters and change them. Okay. And yeah, we do both. And then I'll go back like, no, you can't change him. He's a racist. You can't do that. No. And then she goes back and says, but this girl is this way. So, and then we end up changing them back again. But yeah, it's a process for us. It is a real process. But it's a fun process if she could just get used to me, because I do stuff I probably shouldn't do. Like, Laverne, I changed the plot. And she has to deal with that.
Okay. I see Lisa put up your new cover, Smoke Jumper. Can you tell us a little bit about that and where we can find you on the internet and all of that?
Oh, that one is coming from my heart. I am literally pouring all the angst I'm feeling in that. The whole story starts with a white woman leaving a busload of elderly Black people from a care center in the middle of a fire, in the middle of a wildfire, with a Black nurse, and they take everybody else. And this Black nurse has to figure out how she's going to get these 80 and 90-year-old people to safety. And that right now is kind of consuming me. Poor Laverne is like, I want my chapter. I'm like, well, Laverne, they're not talking to me right now. I'm really sorry. So that is where I'm at, and it'll be released. But I'm trying. It's very emotional for me. That particular book is very emotional because I did take a lot of all the movements, all the stuff that's happening, and I poured it into that book. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, you expect the worst and pray for the best. And that's all anybody can do anymore, at least in this current atmosphere. But it is what it is.
Yeah. So would you tell us where we can find you on the internet?
Oh, I'm at you. All you do is type in Kassana. If I don't show up, something wrong. Because I can't even remember all the stuff I'm part of anymore. I got good Lord. I got a shit. I mean a poop load. Poop load. I said poop. I did. Don't give me that look.
I don't have a swear jar because Lord, or almost swear jar. I'd be rich right now.
See, I'm trying. I'm really trying.
But
all you do is type in my name. It's bound. Something is bound to pop up. It might be my record. I told you I got one. So again, it goes back to my psychopathic days.
Miss Laverne, do you have anything to say to your partner in crime?
You on mute, Laverne.
Oh. Where's my chapter?
See? There we go. Man, I'm working on it. I gotta change the plot. I already told you that.
She had an idea that was not anticipated.
Well, it wasn't my fault they tried to kidnap a governor. I'm like, oh, that's gold.
It's okay. We'll work it out.
We will work it out. But it's gonna be a good one.
We thank you both for coming on tonight and being with us for the cavalcade. You're some of my favorite people. So, I mean, we had to ask you to come in and be part of this. And I like that somebody said, I love that Kassana keeps it real. Pat George Walker has been asked, what is the name of the book that I guess about when you had to go do the research with the Ku Klux Klan?
Oh, that was Rising and Falling and Rising. You can't miss those covers. He got a big old Confederate flag on his chest, and and the other one has a Heil Hitler on his shoulder. I keep that real. Okay. That's the truth. They look like that. But a lot of them look inbred. But I ain't gonna say that out loud. We just gonna keep that between ourselves.
Too late. Y'all already did.
Yeah, but it'll go down in history because I said it and it's on the internet. But I mean, I'm just saying that some of them look like, woo!
Oh my God. Oh my God.
On that note, oh Lord. Okay. Whoo, look at the time. So, thank you so much for coming. Oh Lord. Woo. You should have had me to stop recording before